So Mustafa ভাই আপনি তাহলে স্টার্ট করে বোরহান স্যারকে কিছু few words বললে then I can introduce Shamsul Hoque sir. I think that would be.
ঠিক আছে. Okay, we are taking the 15 seconds pause.
এটা তো বাংলায় হলেও হয় তাই না মুস্তাফা ভাই?
No, ইংলিশে হবে সব, পরে ট্রান্সক্রিপ্টে অসুবিধা হয়.
Okay.
Okay, assalamu alaikum and greetings everyone. I'm Mohammad Mustafa Hussain. So I am a professor of Purdue University, Electrical and Computer Engineering. I graduated from BUET in 2000, Electrical Engineering. And BRAINSTEM is an organization that we started, I would say that this year, April, and we are going on in full swing. We basically wanted to have a complete database and a forum for Bangladeshi rooted academics in North America. And you'd be amazed to know that we have nearly 500 academics who are working in STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math. Interestingly, the definition can be quite broad in STEM, but what we do is faculty development as well as how we can contribute to Bangladesh. And so that starts with conversing with the experts in Bangladesh, stakeholders in Bangladesh. And today we have one of such panel discussions, and I'm grateful that we do have Professor Karishma Chaudhary as well as Professor Samuel Hassan. They are essentially going to be our moderators for this event, but we do have Professor Mohammad Shamsul Hoque of Civil Engineering BUET, who is an eminent expert in traffic management in Bangladesh. And I don't need to actually explicitly describe that how important that part is. But our event today is, I would say that I did not actually expect when I started discussion about this, but I'm so grateful that Professor Borhan, who is the newly appointed Vice Chancellor of BUET, and we do know that how popular he is, so he is with us. And with having any further ado, I'm going to actually let Professor Borhan to share some of his perspectives about this. Okay, so Professor Borhan, please take over.
Assalamu alaikum and Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm honored to be invited in this brainstorming session. Well, I don't know how popular I am, but it's definitely the onus of enormous expectation has come on my shoulder, and it's kind of difficult given the scenario that new Bangladesh, I would say. We have an ample opportunity, probably the second chance that God has given us. I would love to have our teams from abroad, all expatriates, pour in their support mentally, physically, financially, intellectually, to alleviate most of the problems that has been accumulating over the years, and the worst of it is transportation planning. As you know that we have numerous experts in Bangladesh and abroad, but nothing has been successful in reality. Now probably this is the best opportunity for us to join hands, and BUET will be always there. As long as I'm here, I'll extend my full support with my team, our teams, and all other universities will join hands. I'm pretty sure with all the engineering universities will join hand with us in elevating the problem of traffic management. And also we should recognize the management of traffic has fallen into the hands of people who really do not care or have other intentions of having financial benefit from it. So hopefully your advice and your support, along with our efforts, we can overcome this and provide some scenario, some hope for people to have a better traffic management, and also save a lot of working hours and fuel and energy. I hope this will be a successful session, and in future If you need our help, we'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We will be definitely interfacing with you. So Samuel and Karishma, please take over.
Yes, so the panel discussion will start with a talk by Dr. Hoque. And then first I will introduce Dr. Hoque, and then he will give his perspectives about half an hour. And then we will go to the panel discussion about question and answers with Dr. Karishma Chaudhary and myself. So if you have any question, you can put your question in the chat box during the talk. So first, let me introduce Dr. Hoque. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce Dr. Shamsul Hoque, who is a professor at the Department of Civil Engineering BUET, and who is also a member of Bangladesh government's task force for re-strategizing the economy and mobilizing resources for equitable and sustainable development. So Dr. Hoque obtained his BSc degree in civil in 1984 from BUET, and MSc degree from BUET 1987, and PhD from University of Southampton in 1994. So he is a former director of Accident Research Institute, Bangladesh Bureau of Research, Testing and Consultancy, BUET, and Dhaka's Mass Transit Company Limited. So he has published numerous journal and conference papers and published a book in highway and railway engineering from Austria. Dr. Hoque has been extensively involved in wide varieties of civil engineering consultancy and construction projects. Most important, he's one of the most passionate educators I have seen in my life, and he was my MS thesis supervisor. So without any further ado, I would go to talk with Dr. Hoque. So sir, please start.
Samuel, I think there's one correction here. Dr. Hoque is again the director of ARI.
Oh, okay.
Director.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, sir, to miss it. Okay, sir, can you hear us? Like, can you start?
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me for this talk. Actually, I would like to gainfully use this platform to get feedback from our esteemed NRB, who are very experienced and professionals working abroad. As we are suffering not only for transport development as well as operation, so what reforms, actually at the end of the day, what reforms we can propose to the government so that we can have a very efficient and very multimodal transportation system and balanced transportation system, so that we can have a good economic infrastructure for sustainable development. So with this note, as I have mentioned, I will just introduce in my talk what is going on or what has happened during the last 15 years. And I will identify some key issues and challenges, how to overcome and what to be reformed. I will propose something. I think you will refine my identified items with your experience. So with this way, we can actually propose very good and prudent, meaningful reform ideas. So I can start with my experience, as I have been involved with many projects, particularly from the planning, development, implementation, and as well as a consultant. So I have closely seen how in our country transport infrastructure development has actually materialized particularly during the last 15 years period. Here, some are the identified infrastructure developmental widely blamed, criticized, or blamed reasons that in our country everybody says, and you also aware that It is the highest unit cost during the development, whatever we have proposed, and at the end of the day, whatever we assign, it found that per kilometer unit cost highest in the world. Even World Bank said it is higher than the European unit cost. And invariably, we have seen in every project, time and cost overrun occurs. This is a very, very annoying thing, particularly considering the development pain actually peoples are suffering, and also at the expense of huge cost. And also the projects have been implementing without any coordination, without any master plan, a very fragmented way projects are being implemented, and there is no integration with the land use plan, which I have found this is the most important issues for the Bangladesh, because we have huge land constraint and very competing demand for the land from many sectors. So whatever we are actually implementing, these are not integrating with the land use plan. So haphazard planning is being implemented around the transport corridor. Eventually, we lost the productivity of that corridor. Basically, what we have found, all the projects are development driven. Focus is development driven, not system driven. Not only the integration problem, but also it has system driven problem. What does it mean by that? That it is not actually um, uh, developed in a holistic way. If we make the infrastructure ready, then we'll find that rolling stock is not ready. If rolling stock is ready, we find there is no human resource to operate this rolling stock. But during the feasibility study, they said it will add huge benefit for the people, society, and the nation. But when it has implemented, it revealed that there is no rolling stock, there is no human resource, so no service is there. So project has been developed because it is development centric ideas, not system driven ideas. And most importantly, whatever the projects so far implemented, these are mostly passenger centric, auto centric, auto bias, not the freight logistics centric or freight enable centric. We have to develop our country if we can support the freight for or infrastructure for the export import. But we are only implementing so far in my uh, consultancy experience, I have seen we develop only passenger related and mostly auto bias related project, not people centric, not logistics or freight centric. This is the very critical criticism for all the implemented projects. And mostly people like at the decision end, very capital intensive mega project, not a small project. Small, but very effective, low cost, very effective, but they don't like it. So usually top to bottom, from the decision end, from the government psyche, they like the mega project which can create some illusion to the society that we are developing mega transformational project. Yes, these projects are very important for the economy and the country, but whether these are integrated, whether these are people centric, whether these are development centric, economic development centric, these are not well answered. Particularly, people think that congestion or what I can say, chronic congestion and jam, if we would like to solve it, we should build flyover. We have started with Dhaka. Now there are 6 flyovers. Chittagong is running after Dhaka. They have now 7 flyovers. Sylhet has also flyover. Flyover within the built-up area, which is irreversible, causing irreversible damage. But we are developing because we feel flyover can solve urban problem, which is a gross mistake because flyover is also has a limited capacity like road, particularly at the touchdown point when it two stream wanted to pass one intersection, as capacity hasn't been augmented for the intersection, so it added congestion instead of solution, make the congestion problem worse. This is happening in Bangladesh. Another things, we implemented mega project like metro. It is very important project for Dhaka city relieving congestion. But what we haven't done is we didn't fix our bus, very unregulated, scattered, fragmented bus service, cannot invite all mode of transportation user. So fixing bus, which does not cost much, without fixing, which is the prerequisite for developing metros, but we are ignoring. We are not doing any bus route franchise, which has been written in the strategic transport plan, that you have to first fix the bus which will carry 40% of the transport demand, particularly during the peak period. And if you develop 6 metros, it will carry only 20% of the travel demand at peak time, and it will cost nearly $25 billion. But fixing bus service just need policy support, like what we did in Hatirjhil project. There is only one company, they are applying without any fierce competition. Only one company, so they are providing better service as compared to other services who are competing fiercely and creating congestion. So uh, bus route franchising does not cost any money because capital come from the operator. That is why we are not prioritizing or patronizing the bus services and not fixing. 3 mayors, consecutive 3 mayors, half-heartedly they tried but could not make any successful BRT project or bus route franchise projects. So this is the very important thing. We don't go after low cost but very effective solution which will make sustainable solution for the Dhaka city. Rather, we opted for capital intensive metro projects. And another thing, what is very important, you will know that whatever we are developing for railways, waterways, or roadways, according to their individual master plan, not considering the integrated holistic master plan for Bangladesh. So these development projects is coming individually from the department without any integration. Nobody knows others' development projects. So often they conflict with each other. And also they don't produce any synergy because there is no intermodal integration. Rather, sometimes they entangle with each other, like railway and roadway bridge entangle with the waterways. and roadways entangled with the railways at the level crossing. So very capital intensive projects, but don't actually implement integrating with three mode of transportation. They should be actually implemented in a very integrated way so that every mode can play its due role, not affecting other mode. So these are the few hallmark criticize which are happening right now and during the last 15 years what has happened. So this is the main issues. Now we will show you some key challenges for infrastructure development, what is happening in Bangladesh. This is the standard framework for the project implementation. In general, project implementation idea should come from following any master plan, whether it is for whole country or departmental master plan. Usually, for the last 15 years, what has happened? It was a dictated approach, top-down approach, and a very nice approach that is some influential external party. It could be minister, ministry, influential politician, or even I have found some donor, interested donor. They put forward some ideas. They give presentation to the prime minister. And if prime minister give her endorsement, concurrence, then it become Bible. So they found the project has conceived by the prime minister. So they go to the relevant ministry for implementation, ask them to undertake feasibility. Project has already been approved by the top person. So feasibility is a formaishi, is requested for, just to comply with the approval process. So who actually undertake the feasibility study, he knows I have to show it is a feasible project and prepare DPP. Whoever prepared development project proposal costing, estimate costing, he keeps many benefits within the cost because within the project approval chain there are department, ministry, minister, planning commission, finance department, external resource division. So many people, they need to be happy. So there is a shadow cost they keep within the DPP and they know it will be approved because everywhere they will say it is a prime minister's committed project. When it is told to the participant, then everybody become quiet. Nobody oppose anything, whether it is inflated projects or feasibility is a absurd feasibility. Nobody could give any objection because it is the prime minister's committed projects. So this is the culture actually matured during that 15 years period. And everybody within this approval process, they knows that we have to go through this process so that we can hide all the benefits within the projects. And these benefits is the astronomical scale benefit, direct and indirect benefits. And in this process, department has minimum to give input because they have some say, they know what to do for their departmental progress and development and planning. They have also their own master plan, but as it is dictated top down approach, they have this project has landed to this department, they have minimum to say other than to implement. This is the actually culture we have seen established during the last 15 years period. And by this way, all the people become happy because development is very fatty, very capital intensive. So everybody gets his own share liberally. So that is why institutional people or departmental people also, they are focused only to development driven solution, not any system driven solution like we will develop infrastructure, we will operate it, maintain it, monitor it, enforce it, and timely maintenance. No, these are the soft and low cost investment. We are not interested. We only be involved with the development projects implementation. And uh, uh, as you know, the public transport centric projects have a minimum cost, particularly bus oriented, ordinary bus fixing. So they always try to avoid this type of projects because it needs continuous attention. So it's to run a system. You cannot ignore. You have to put your effort continuously. But nobody is interested because they are getting so much of project nowadays. That is why with time they have found direct benefit to become involved with this development project rather than involving with the maintenance and operation or maintenance projects. And what even happened, I have seen so many departments wanted to do the same thing. So there is a fierce competition to secure the projects, even if it is not within their mandate or jurisdiction. But they use their minister or influential secretary to snatch these projects if there is some gray area because because of the incentive actually embedded within the project. So if projects comes to their department, they will be the beneficiary, direct beneficiary. So this is the main incentive for development for personal interest, not for the national interest. So with this introduction, if I propose some issues where I see reform is needed, particularly in every project we have seen time and cost overrun. This is a very chronic problem in every projects. We conceived with low cost budget, eventually ended up with a double or multiple fold uh, uh, project cost. So I tried to find out what are the causes, root causes behind this so that we can propose some reform. Particularly, I have found the feasibility problem with the feasibility studies. As I have mentioned, sometimes feasibility study become as a formalities just to comply for the acceptance of the projects. So the consultant even don't go to the field to see the ground challenges. They don't document all the challenges, which actually at the end of the would be the cost. So they try to undermine the cost. Rather, they inflated the project benefits, which the politician will mention in front of the public what this project will add to the society, to the people, to the nation. By this way, they show very big IRR. So the main challenges which is present in the field, they don't document. These undocumented challenges actually they face during the implementation stage. This is the main problem, and nobody actually give any punishment to the consultant who undertake this feasibility study so casually. And I have seen so big feasibility study. They have actually produced very nice environmental, ecological, and social impact studies. But when they monetize this impact, they devaluated all the negative impact. Report is very nice, identified so many issues, but they don't actually monetize all the negative into cost. So that is the main problem which actually make all the projects cost and time overrun. This is from my perception, because whenever they said we did not know that there is a need for a shift of utility, then when I ask, why did you perform feasibility study? You must know, to make one project, one area greenfield, you have to rehabilitate, you have to perform land acquisition, you have to relocate all the utilities. But you did not go to the field, produce feasibility study, and as the challenges are undocumented, so cost is low, benefit is very high. So this is the main problem I have seen start from the feasibility study. And most importantly, you are aware that in our country, we actually give less importance on the data. For the transport infrastructure project, we need long-term forecast. For reliable forecast, we need historical data, traffic trajectory, and planning parameters. But consultant when ask for this data, they don't find any data. We do not have any archive to preserve chronological data, historical data, or the parameter which needed to monetize. What would be the uh, unit rate if we consider this item into a cost? So there is no parameter anywhere, neither with the implementing agency nor with the planning institution like planning commission. So what consultant do? They use the Bayesian data. Only collecting Bayesian data, this is the traffic data, and forecast for the sometimes 30, 35 years, it always become very unreliable forecast. So what they do, they usually make lot of assumptions and consideration to make the project feasible. To some extent, it is not the consultant's fault, it is our fault. We don't preserve our data systematically. We always use the Bayesian data. It's a huge consequence for the project failure. And most importantly, as I have mentioned, ground challenges undocumented. So cost escalation occurred when we want to implement these projects and found these real ground challenges. Culturally, what has happened? Government also know that we will not give more time to the feasibility study. We will give more time during the implementation study or implementation of the projects. So this is the culture. Do feasibility study even within 2 weeks time. And some projects, even they approve the projects, giving some condition that you have to perform the feasibility study. Project is approved. So this is the practice following by the approval giving agency. So this is the very, very slack system. Who are the opportunists? They can easily exploit the system. They know nobody will understand feasibility study. They can make any project feasible, showing the unrealistic, very, very ambitious outcome. Another issues need to be reformed. What I have found in our country, as you know, we have huge crisis in land acquisition, land amount per capita land is very low. So land acquisition is a very, very complex and lengthy issues, and nobody want to voluntarily give up their land. So involuntarily land acquisition is very tough. That is why what has happened, government proposed very lucrative land compensation package. 3 times the market price. Whatever the land price, market land price, government will pay three times. So this is very, very lucrative. That is why people want to give their land. But what has happened? Seeing this high incentive for the project affected people, intermediate people like DC and the AC land and the police and the local master, they become involved and try to get some benefit from this huge compensation package. And this makes the problem more complicated, and they increase the affected number of affected people. And when they make valuation for the land or asset or identify the number of people, huge corruption happens because this syndicate knows it will be a big and handsome amount for the affected people, so they wanted to make some money out of this, and then litigation occurs. This is a very lengthy litigation problem. So land acquisition, if we cannot reduce time, then project cost and time overrun we can stop. So this system need to be reformed, and I would like to get some feedback from you how in America, UK, they actually perform land acquisition uh, issues, and they avoid project duration uh, becoming lengthy. Am I audible still?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay. Then another issues like conflicting with other projects. As in our country, consultant when study one projects, make feasibility study or detailed design, they don't know along this same corridor what are the other project proposed by the other department. Nowhere you can find the ongoing or committed project, pipeline projects. So they always detail considering this is an only individual project along this corridor. But during implementation, it reveals that, oh, there are another projects by another department. But no one gives this information to the consultant, which also make additional time and cost. In this regard, I think Planning Commission, which is an apex body for approving development projects, who scrutinize whether this project should go for implement or not, they need to be reformed. There is institutional capacity need to be augmented, because right now in the Planning Commission, name is Planning Commission, but there is no planners, infrastructure planner or land use planner, nothing. But they get project from railway, they get project from roadway, they get project from high waterway, riverway. They don't have any professional who can integrate this multimodal infrastructure project along a corridor. So these are the very weakest point I have seen in the development process, that any opportunity they can make one project, they can put forward to the apex body, but there is no one to find whether this project will be good for the country or not, or whether it will be a constraint for other project or not. There is no domain knowledge and no professionals. This is the very, very important thing which I have been saying for the long time, that Planning Commission, where all the projects go for approval, there should be some renowned professional who can not only integrate but also see the merit of the project for implementation. They must have some capacity. There must be some renowned professional to make the project multimodal flavor with multiple modal flavor or conflict free. As I have mentioned, planning commission must have all the data which are needed for planning or for the economic analysis or for the forecast in the national dashboard. We have we have we are generating lot of data from the project, from the toll plaza, from the traffic survey, but we are not preserving. Always start from the zero. So planning commission, who actually will own the whole Bangladesh, not the any department. Therefore, the development of Bangladesh, they must have all the report, all the transport sector planning, and also all the data which are the prerequisite for the reliable estimation of the future traffic, and also all the ongoing and committed project, because all the projects must go through their system, so they have the information, so they should display all these committed and ongoing projects so that other project can be make conflict free. Ironically, as you know, this is a planning commission must be a specialized department with lot of professionals expertise, which is the case in abroad. But recently, what has happened with this institutional weakness? Recently, planning commission has merged with the general cadre, administration cadre, and they actually diluted their institutional capacity. At least before there was an economic cadre, they know how to see the DPP, at least DPP. But now all the general cadre people come to this planning commission. Planning commission people go to the, general cadre. So when this institution should be strengthened, now actually they have proposed this merging with the general cadre for their own benefit, for the promotion. General cadre gets lot of benefits from the government, but this is special cadre out of the system. So that is why they actually merge with the general cadre for their own benefit, not the benefit of the nation. This is the very, very concerning issue. And one thing, as you know, there is a monitoring unit. It's called IMED. They only monitor the financial audit, not the quality or performance of the projects. What we have said in the uh, ambitious object that this will bring 1.23% GDP to the national economy, but after implementation, there is no way, or they haven't got any scheme to undertake any ex post evaluation of the projects. That is another loophole. When people knows whatever I say, it will not be audited in future. So they say many things which is not actually achievable, but they say just for the sake of the project approval purposes. Most of the country, when some project implemented using public money, after a couple of years, need to be audited to see its performance, see its objective, whether it has achieved or not, why it has not been achieved. These are the question actually answered, and some accountability also established, but this is not the case here. And another thing, as you know, in our country, no department has R&D and P&D, research and development, and planning and development. These are the actually very important for homegrown knowledge-based development. Whatever we are doing, we are engaging the foreign consultant who come from the, 100% motorized traffic. There is no heterogeneity, and also driver behavior is totally different from here. But we must have some our homegrown knowledge so that we can make our development in our own way, or at least to give some employer's requirement to the consultant. This is my observation. To make any sustainable project, you have to actually ensure these parameters, these conditions, which is totally local, based on the local peculiarities, not the traditional Western concept. So in our country, no one has this type of even if there is a unit, this is a punishment post, dumping post. They will be at the background. They will not be able to join with the very capital intensive development projects. Only planning, yes, and their planning ideas actually never used as an input for the project development. So this is another weaknesses which I think need to be reformed, that development should not be casual, should be based on our own characteristics, not the other characteristics. Particularly the, as you know, the infrastructure development, actually we use global funding, donors or development countries fund, PPP, G2G, Indian line of credit. So far I have been involved with many projects of this nature, and I have found these are another kind of money draining. G2G apparently looks very lucrative, soft loan, but underneath there are so many hidden unfavorable terms and conditions which actually make the project unusually very expensive, very expensive. So this need to be reformed, whether we should follow G2G funding further or not. And also importantly, as you know, Indian line of credit, they give condition that at least 75% of the content, it is consultancy content or material content must be used from the India. And most of the projects actually implemented, this is for the Indian uh, improved Indian road connectivity or rail connectivity to support the landlocked provinces of their uh, country. So Indian projects, Indian loan, Indian material, Indian consultant, but we have to pay from the government public money. This is something we have to revisit, need to be reformed. And another issue I have seen, projects PD, project director actually become very senior person. Only for 2 months, 4 months, there must be some discipline. Otherwise, frequent change of PD actually hampered the project continuity, and also it restrict the to establish the accountability. If multiple PD implement one project, how could you establish accountability? This is a very big question. Without accountability, so you will not get the financial discipline. Another area, as I have mentioned, that in our country, there is right now there is no accountability and good governance practices, and every feasibility undertake very quickly as a formalities, and uh, feasibility actually itself become a project, because feasibility cost, some is 250 crore or 350. Some feasibility I have found 500 crore. It's a big. Even if the project is very uh, what we can say, has no value to add to the national development. They know it, but they undertake feasibility study because they know they can spend some money where they can have some benefit. And even we have seen one project feasibility is done by multiple organization just to spend money. There is no accountability at the end of the day whose project will be implemented, and planning commission knows this one, but they are not actually preventing this multiple feasibility study on the same projects. And most conflicting issues is whoever actually approving the project or whoever at the decision end, they are the beneficiary and they dictate their benefit should be in the DPP in the form of transfer of technology, numerous luxury vehicle. In the civil engineering project, why luxury vehicle will be needed it is unanswered. Maybe some field vehicle for movement purpose, but always it is dictated, and this luxury vehicle should be available. They should have actually opportunity to go for transfer of technology and also to see the factory acceptance test. They are not the technical person. Most of them are non-technical. So this benefit actually prevent to establish accountability because they will establish accountability. If department do something wrong, ministry is supposed to establish accountability. If ministry does something wrong, minister or parliamentary standing commission or a planning commission who has providing the money, but everybody is beneficiary. So they are reluctant to establish if there is any irregularities. Now I will just propose some, as per my understanding, I think these are the following as the actually very important reform item. I think I would like to get some input from you uh, in this regard. Like in our country, as development is fragmented, every department act individually. So like Department of Transport, who actually deals three mode of transport three mode of transport and land use. So like this unitary development authority, including all the infrastructure and land use, and also public transport department, so that it can be easily implemented and there is no overlapping responsibilities. And also, as I have mentioned, R&D and P&D wing must be actually activated and with some incentive, because they will actually give the knowledge input. Whoever will be directly involved with the development project, this is a very lucrative offer, but whoever will be researcher will do background work, they must have some incentive in the form of transfer of technology, and appointment of PD should be from the mid rank so that he can continue and finish the projects and accountability can be established easily. Land acquisition should not be after taking the project, it should be as a support project, and in the upfront, land acquisition activity should be completed, not during the project implementation. It's a huge problem when contractor mobilize his resources and he wait for land acquisition to be complete, then he asks for cost escalation and hence cost because of his delay. And definitely feasibility study, which is a very formal study. It has to be very objectively undertaken so that whatever in the ground challenges, all the document. I don't know how to enforce this one. Just I have proposed one idea that in the construction we propose some retention money deduction from the contractor's bill. So similar nature, consultant doesn't give any uh, mm, earnest money or retention money. So he's not liable for the defect liability period. So like contractors defect liability accountability system should be implemented here. We can at least try that whether we can retain some money for the consultant who perform feasibility study. If there is any anomalies during the study report and field, he should be liable with some punishment from the retention money. And defect liability period definitely should not be 1 year, it should be more than 1 year. And another thing I have seen in America as well as Europe, in the DPP, we always inform the contractor, if you delay, then this would be your punishment. All are the punishment related clauses, but some incentive clauses we can propose. If you can finish the project before the deadline, there is an incentive. It will definitely make them actually uh, interested to finish the project within the stipulated time. And ex post evaluation practice should be undertaken so that nobody can say unnecessary, very ambitious objective. If he knows that at the end of the day it will be audited, whatever I said and whatever I have achieved, if there is a gap, I will be accountable, then definitely it will put some fear for the uh, who will conduct the feasibility study or the project director or the government agency. At the end, what I have seen from my experience and that we have huge lack of human resource. Side by side, we have some opportunities that we have huge Bangladeshi resident staying abroad and performing very high quality job for the development of other countries. If we can provide some opportunity to those NBR, NRBs, they can contribute their own motherland as well. So I have put forward some issues here that you can at least give the feedback. At this moment reforming is going on, so if we can give proper meaningful reform, then I think it will help Bangladesh. So sharing your knowledge would be one contribution. Another thing, we have suggested government that all the mega projects, PDs, if it is not available, you should invite all the expatriate who has similar experience. They can come here and uh, uh, get the get the opportunity to develop their countries. I think many countries are approaching or following this type of uh, uh, ideas in developing their new projects like BRT. We haven't got any BRT. MRT, we haven't got any MRT before. So how can we get the expert human resource? So we can share our, we can invite our NRBs who can contribute here. And also what I am proposing, I'm thinking to propose the planning commission. There should be one forum in the form of think tank comprising expatriate who have their expertise in planning areas or infrastructure development areas, then they can also directly give input to the planning commission in formulating different strategies for Bangladesh. Most importantly, if there is a mega project, even we can invite expatriate to become PD of the projects. It will be very helpful for us. And finally, in Dhaka Elevated project, you know there is a unit called Civil Engineering and Management Unit. It is a very independent unit. It is proposed to train our internal resources or human resources on different mega projects, ranging from nuclear projects, tunnel projects, submarine projects, so many projects, but to train those actually engineered by expatriate would be another avenue uh, to give opportunity to the NRBs to help building better Bangladesh. So there is a unit. It hasn't been enacted yet, but very soon they will actually form this ICM, and they will invite all the expertise from abroad who can act as a resource person here. So these are the few ideas I have proposed. I would like to uh, hear more from you. Thank you very much for allowing me to give presentation on the reform issue. Now we'll be eagerly waiting for your feedbacks.
Thank you, sir, for giving such a good presentation and such a high-level overview of the most important problems for Dhaka's transportation challenges. So I think it would be very useful for all of us to contribute. So now I'd like to invite Dr. Karishma Chaudhary to lead the discussion session. So Dr. Karishma Chaudhary, please.
Thank you, Samuel. Yes, so I would like to get views from others, but before that, I have three small insights that I would like to add to this. So, Sir has shared like very thoughtful insights about the reform ideas. Three small issues I would like to add is first of all, like um, most my so as some of you know, I have worked in Dhaka till 2013, so I have a bit of kind of idea about the real world challenges. One of my observations has been, in addition to the tendency for going for mega projects and expensive projects, another issue is there has been a tendency to avoid restrictive policies. So we see that in countries like cities like London and Singapore, like in addition to improving the public transport system, there has been simultaneously measures to restrict car usage by congestion charging and other means. So I think as part of the reform, maybe one of the things we can consider is also how we can have this more carrot and stick type of approaches, so that the public transport and sustainable transport modes can gain more popularity and people will actually move from car to these in higher rates. Another thing is my observation has been like, so there has been so much emphasis on just improving the transport networks. SR has also mentioned that there has been not much integration with land use plan. But I would also like to add that in addition to that, um, there has been discussions about decentralization from time to time. But I think maybe there's scope to do more there. Like, how can we actually stop people from coming to Dhaka or moving to Dhaka? And how can we ensure that there are equal or at least like very good employment opportunities and economic opportunities in other places so that uh, people do not continue to come to Dhaka at such high rates? Because otherwise, like whatever we do, like if there are more people coming, it can never reach the intended solution. And the third thing is, so we have seen a lot of strategic plans, sir, like, for example, the SDP, then there was DHAT's revised RSTP. So, but there have, as you mentioned, like there have been a lot of projects which were actually executed without adhering to the recommendations of these strategic transport plans, which kind of makes them meaningless to some extent. So, can there be any government measures to take on that? Okay, we have done this strategic transport plan, and nothing beyond this strategic plan can happen up to a certain number of years. Um, so, I would like to hear your thoughts in these points before maybe asking others to share ideas.
Thank you, Karishma. Actually, you also mentioned that you worked in Bangladesh in a project, so you have some real ground ideas regarding the public transport issue. I think I didn't find actually people who actually want public transport should get priority. Rather, they want to give priority to the car user. As at the decision end, the people at the decision end who will make this type of first priority and discouraging smaller size vehicle, they are enjoying not only government's car but also project's car with free of fuel and driver. So they don't want to give any restriction for the smaller size or private vehicles. This is the one thing. Another thing, decentralization policy in every policy you will find, but the projects like Podda Bridge is a very big and transformational project with a view to make Dhaka decentralized. Because if you establish improved connectivity, particularly with the southwestern region of Dhaka, Bangladesh, then people will not come to Dhaka. Rather, there will be job opportunity for with a new industrial development. But what has happened now? Project has completed, but there is no follow-up land use pattern, land use plan for the Khulna region. So that this Podda Bridge give the improved facility to take the decision that I need something, I must go to Dhaka because it is not available here. So Podda Bridge, instead of making decentralization, it is actually inviting more people. And nowadays, what has happened? What travel benefit they get using this very capital intensive, not only Podda Bridge and also expressway, N8, but they stuck at the entry point of Dhaka because so many user is coming. So instead of decentralizing, Podda Bridge is making counterproductive impact on the project. So that is why I said project should not be implemented is a development driven uh, respect. It should be system driven. That means if we develop Podda Bridge and expressway, then side by side, we must have land use plan for that region so that industrialization can start, and also government should have some stimulus projects so that the government also can initiate the land use development, industrial development. But these are not happen. Projects is the most important. Land use, public transport, or any traffic management issue, this is least important for the government or the people at the government. These are the main issues. And as you have mentioned, the RSTP or STP, strategic transport planning for Dhaka, what we have found, there is a short term, middle term, long term, 71 projects, very smartly they have proposed. And sequentially, they mentioned this should be implemented one after another so that uh, capital intensive project can give the full benefit to the society. But what we have found, without fixing bus, we have implemented MRT projects with $3 billion projects. But HTP always mentioned that give the priority to the bus user and fix the fragmented bus system and make it regulated system and make it very alternative, attractive alternative to the road user. So without fixing, nobody has interest. So we went for the capital intensive metro, not only one metro, we are going to establish another 5 metros with a very big amount of money, ignoring low cost, low budget bus route franchising project.
Yes. So thanks, sir. So I was thinking, like, in terms of in the reform agenda, can these be? Do you think there is a potential to highlight some of these issues so they do not happen uh, in future?
Definitely, we will propose that project should not be implemented as a first come first serve basis, or if there is a fund we will implement without seeing the sequence. Definitely there should be some proposal to so that master plan should not be violated. Master plan should be sequentially implemented, integratedly implemented. But I don't know how to adhere, how to compel the policy maker, how to compel the decision maker. It is very difficult. You see, it is totally depends. So right now, I feel if politics is not fixed, political people only can control the bureaucrat. Bureaucrat is the very big force in this country. Government comes and go, but bureaucrat is always staying there. So they have seen the benefit what can harness out of this, and if it is a mega project, their benefits become the mega. So we can propose, we can give reform regarding the compliance of the project implementation, but I have a strong doubt whether they will listen this or not. But even then, we have to propose. At least we have to propose. That is why we are actually spending time here, and we wanted to get how to propose in the best possible way and get the best outcome.
I see Mustafa Bhai has his hand raised. Would you like to share your views?
Karishma, I think the let's other from the chat box address their questions, and then I can add on at the very last. Okay, no problem.
Do you want to add something? I was thinking of like maybe going point by point. So the first point, since we are kind of working outside, we cannot input much about the first point, which is what has happened. But the second question that Sir had was what reforms are needed in the transport sector. So maybe those who are present here who would like to share their views on that, maybe we can discuss that first and then go to the third and fourth point.
Yeah, they can raise hands, Rashma.
Yes.
Or just I think by the time they raise hand, like I can quickly ask one or two questions from the audience.
Yes, sure.
I think one question was to Sir, is like, have there been any improvements in the process of conducting feasibility studies since the new government took office? Sir, this is the question for you.
Oh, so actually, for this government, I did not see any new project they have undertaken. All the what are doing, actually, they are reviewing all the previous government's project. If it is politically motivated, they are scrutinizing and actually scrapping these projects. And if some projects are at the end of this implementation, they are seeing whether we can reduce some cost. Is there any inflated cost, and why time has needed So like this rule. So I did not find any new project this government has undertaken. So feasibility, definitely I did not find any.
I think another question that or issue that has been raised in a couple of comments, including there was a comment from Borhan sir as well, is about the data. And so others have shared in the chat that in other countries there are kind of data repositories, and so that like for a new project, a consultant or policymaker, they do not have to kind of start afresh. They have something reports and um, data to start from. So I was wondering, like, sir, if you have any thoughts about this, like, can BUET or other universities or maybe outside organizations can uh, use this opportunity to establish some maybe data repository centers where maybe anyone who has a meaningful proposal can request data for doing a follow-up analysis, and that kind of can maybe a check and balance in terms of the feasibility studies that were done during the project or before the project as well.
Yes, Karishma, I also think absence of data is a very crucial actually for the uh, feasibility study and for the forecast, particularly for long duration forecast. To make it reliable, definitely you have to have previous data. But as I have mentioned, we haven't got any culture to preserve or archive all this data. And most importantly, even if data is available, but what about the user cost? You have to monetize the benefit like travel time, vehicle operating cost, so or accident cost. There is no data. Once it is conducted by the World Bank in 2004, that is what we have now available, and they are putting some cost escalation, and they actually also assume something, then consult and monetize the benefit for the road user. So not only traffic data, planning parameter data, as well as road user benefit data, all need to be updated and up to date. So this should be mandatory for the project implementation unit, like RSD. RSD, they are very interested to undertake projects, but not actually interested to preserve data. This has to be actually make obligatory for all the implementing agency. Whatever data you collect or also during project you derive, it has to be actually kept in a unitary body, which I have identified, planning commission, where all type of projects actually go. So they have the actually good platform. They can get and share, or they can make one framework where every organization put their data for future use. So I don't know, as there is a lack of interest from the all departments, but we can give some recommendation that a planning commission should ensure that all the data. I am interested for the traffic data nowadays. All toll plazas are electronic toll plaza. Every transaction creates one nice authentic data. Our manual collection data is not authentic, is a is a fabricated data. So toll collection data, we if we can preserve in a standard format, which is be which could be initiated by the planning commission and make obligatory for the implementing agency, that could be one way. That is, I am going to propose. If you have any other good idea how in America or other developed countries they implement and preserve their data, you can share, and I can propose this in my reform uh, recommendation.
But in the UK, actually, there's a competitive project proposal from different universities who are interested about building kind of the servers and other infrastructure to host the data. And usually, like it's distributed among universities. So, for example, like Leeds has the data center, which is more about consumer um, data, whereas UCL got the data center for the health data, and Glasgow won the bid for the urban uh, traffic and other urban planning related data. So maybe if you think that the planning commission may be reluctant to take this responsibility, maybe the universities is another option. I don't know, like maybe those who working in the USA can share how it's done in the USA.
There are two hands raised.
Yes, I can
Okay.
see Najmus Saki.
Yeah, Najmus Sakib and Asadur Rahman from DOT. Yeah, we can go one by one. Najmus Sakib, if you can he unmute Mustafa bhai?
Everyone is fine, I think. I don't see any problem. Let me check on that, but okay. I think we can start with Asadur Rahman, and meanwhile, I work with Nazmus Sakib to get his mic unmuted.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Asad Rahman, working at Wisconsin Department of Transportation for the last more than 10 years. So I'm working as a traffic operation and safety engineer. So the data that we kind of have in our department, that every section that we call, for example, traffic forecasting or traffic operations, they kind of save their data in their own server, but we have a centralized location that we can have the access. So for example, for the demand model for traffic transportation network or socioeconomic data, all this information are like saved in the central database. So for Bangladesh, is the planning commission, if is possible that if they can have a centralized location to save that data, and for time to time, we do actually update within, I would say, 5 years or 10 years. We revisit the data and we try to update, for example, the socioeconomic data, data and the other data. We have a plan actually to revisit the data, and consultant were kind of invited to help us do with that. So as a kind of also summary, we have a centralized location in our department, and we do reevaluate the data and revisit the data and try to update the data.
So I would like to add a perspective on that, sir. That in the US there is like different DOTs by state. So the DOTs from the states, they operate on their own and they collect data. And sometimes US DOT also hosts some of the national level data as well. So that's like a partly distributed and partly centralized. So sometimes US DOT or Federal Highway Administration operates in a National Household Travel Survey that is called NHTS. So they commission a survey every 5 years about, and different DOTs contribute to that, and they collect a national level survey data about how people's travel behavior. That also gives some of the socioeconomic data and people's travel behavior. That is sometimes merged with the census data for planning purposes. So both DOTs, like state DOTs as well as US DOT, I think they operate to collect data and host data. And one of the things is that they share the data publicly available, because the argument here is that because these projects are publicly funded, so all the data collected under these projects should be also available to public. So there is no restriction on the data access. So even if the project is finished, people can use those data for their own research or consultancy.
So,
Yeah,
Samir, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, sir. Just to like add with Dr. Samuel Hassan, is that as you just said, yes, Wisconsin was also an add-on partner for the NSTA's data, and I was part of that too. So, as a part of the public participation, is that the public they have the access anytime, and this is kind of the legislature rule that you have to provide them the data as needed, and is kind of our part of our legislature and then regulation is that once the public they're interested and would like to get them more information, we need to provide them the data with the pretty much the same result that we have provided for the project. If not, they have the right to go to the lawsuit or like the court and get more details.
Hmm. So there should be some special department who look after this data preservation, updating, monitoring. There should be some special unit with special responsibility regarding this data. What do you think?
Yes, there is some entities in the state, like a federal level. So they host this data, but state duties mostly like because we don't have like states here in Bangladesh. So it's like RHD can host their data, LGD can host their data, but sometimes the government can, like as Kaishmak was telling that this is like they can ask for competition for a data infrastructure. So for those data infrastructure, they can be funded to host this data for a certain time period.
So then I would just like to add, sometimes like the data can be sensitive as well. So that's why in the UK, the universities got involved, or like there was a bidding process that in addition to hosting the data, these data partners, they had to check that there is no risk of privacy, whatever data is shared publicly, or so there are kind of different tiers of restrictions. So some data is unrestricted, anyone can use, whereas some, like maybe there is a need for uh, submitting a justification of why they want to use the data because it has some personal level information. So I know that in Bangladesh, like the privacy concerns are not super high right now, but maybe there needs to be some thought about future as well, that in future, when people are more aware about their value of the data and the issues about privacy, maybe there can be controversy if the data is totally shared without any restriction.
So whatever we are talking, is say traffic data, travel behavior data. Another set of data is called road user benefit. So who actually prepare this benefit unit and how? Like if you reduce travel time, some benefit we will get. So travel time need to be monetized in terms of money. So need some unit rate. Who actually updated this unit rate? Do you have any idea?
I did say that in the UK, there is the Department for Transport conducts like every 10 years, there's a value of travel time study, and it kind of, so it sets out the values for all projects. And sometimes there are regional rates, like maybe in the London, the value of time is different from another smaller, like northern regions or stuff. But it's a central value that is determined by the Department for Transport. I think Kamal was.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to Dr. Chaudhary. So, sir, actually, I got a chance to work on some life cycle cost analysis for some transportation infrastructure projects. So FHWA has a program. They collect those kind of data and make those data available for public for research. For example, delay cost, congestion cost. Okay, so the short answer is Federal Highway Administration in the US. They have a program or dedicated wing. They have dedicated resource to compile and collect and make those data available.
Just for the meetings, like, you know, the efficiency purpose, we do have a couple of hands raised, like Promotesh, Abdullah Khaled, Nazmus Saki, Mohammad Ashraful, and Mueed Islam. Can we go through them? Just like,
Yes,
like
we
for
can,
I think
just
Nazmus
testing.
Saqib
yeah,
had his hand
he was
up.
before. Like, if you can quickly ask the question.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Okay, perfect. My name is Dr. Nazmus Saqib. I am here in Bangladesh at IUT. I work on the pavement side of things. As Sir suggested, a good suggestion about engaging NRBs to projects and actually making them PDs, and that's a very good suggestion. One thing we should be careful about that our problems are very local. The unique situations are very local as well. But if we want to integrate the expertise, I believe what we can do right now is to include them in the review panels. Just what has been happening, like reviewing the projects and those kinds of things, so they can be aware about the problems the current project is facing. For example, the BRT projects, our big problem right now, it's nothing technical. It started with a financial issue, and that became a technical issue. So I believe if SAR can accommodate some NRDs into the review panel that's being taking place right now, I think that may be a good way to integrate and eventually move them onto the project direction later on. So that's one point. Second point I want to say, the data guardian, if I may understand correctly, it can be university. In Bangladesh, if you understand, the government have a transfer job. So unless there's some stability in that system, if somebody changes, some position changes, the whole thing gets messed up. So university is more universal, more stagnant, or more constant. So BUET and other universities can be this kind of guardianship of this data. That's my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nazmus.
Samuel, do you have a second? I wanted to add one point on Nazmus' point.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So I think I mentioned in the chat box, sir, one pressing issue in Bangladesh is the durability of our transportation infrastructure, in particular roads and highways, sir. So as you said, cost overrun and cost budget. So road and highway are the most money-taking element, the public money-taking element in the transportation infrastructure systems. So, sir, to enhance the durability, we need to create an institutional effort that it does not have just a 5-year or 7-year impact. We need to have really an institute to promote the quality of our construction, highway construction, roadway construction. So like, sir, you created ARI. So can Bangladesh have something like that through this reform effort, that we have an institute like in the US, sir, you are aware of that. We have so many federal institute to promote, to enhance the road quality, and in other developed countries as well. So RHD is, I met a couple of times with many executive engineers, including even the one time with the chief engineer of RHD in the TRB annual meeting in Washington. They're interested, but I think they're somehow stuck to create a research institute to promote the quality of our road, enhance the quality of our road. I call it Pavement Research Institute or National Pavement Research Center. Unfortunately, sir, even as you know, that BUET does not have a dedicated pavement professor for a long time. So can we, in your reformation effort, can you propose something that a national research institute to enhance our pavement quality, roadway quality can be done? I just wanted to add.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, well
I
taken. I
think
will
maybe
think it. Khaled, I think.
I was thinking, sir, for the sake of time, let's maybe hear, I think some people may have similar questions or comments. So if we go through the list and then maybe you can answer them in one go, if that's okay with you, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think,
So I think
we have
Prometheus,
Promotesh.
sorry, Prometheus.
Yes. Promotesh, go ahead.
Please unmute yourself.
Khaled Abdullah has raised his hand for long.
Okay. I don't. Khaled.
Sir, thank you for mentioning my name. I've already mentioned this in the chat. So to all, actually, I'm Khaled. I'm a transport planner and economics in working Jacobs, UK. So I used to work in a transport sector coordination week at the Planning Commission. It's a World Bank finance project for the institution development and capacity building. So we developed a transport sector database at that time, and that's mostly all the data, most of the data you mentioned, like project appraisal type things, traffic data, departmental sectoral data, all those things. There's a regular process of updating data through coordination and new survey. But after the project ended in 2010, we don't know what is the status of the database. But in my understanding, in my experience, that time, the transport sector coordination wing planning is the right place for the ownership of similar kind of database. Maybe universities and academic can involve to support them regarding those research-based study that needed to update the data. Thank you.
Abdullah, what was the name of the project? I was also involved. WSP.
What WSP was the company who was the main. WSP was the company name who did the project. I mean, was the partner with the Transport Sector Coordination Wing for the Planning Commission. So the project name was Institutional Development Capacity Building for the Transport Sector. Something like that, yeah.
Actually, I was involved and make one MU with this coordination wing to share accident data because there is
exactly. That's the thing. We did a lots of MU, and I was part of the process. We did MU with ARI, we did MU with LGD, RSD, Water Development Board, because they have river-based transport system, the rail, Bangladesh Railway, all those departments, government departments, transport sector coordination, when we did the MOU. So their system is there, so they should provide the they say access to provide that. I'm not sure. Even that time, because we need a capacity within the government of people. So that time we updated the. Sorry, I'm in a public place. Yeah.
Okay.
So that time the few personnel there, we went to the higher study so that they can come back and join the department and service for a long time. But most of them didn't actually continue in the wing because of various reasons, bureaucratic reason. But yes, that was the original plan. But that was the main purpose of the capacity building in the RHD, Roads and Highways Department, and also the Planning Commission, both. And we also did a master plan for the Roads and Highways Department that time, and involving and also master plan for the other transport sectors. I think you are in the one of the technical committee member as well. You attended some meetings that time.
Yes, but when project has completed, there is no fund, so project there is lack of continuity problem. I think I haven't got
this is one of the problems. Yes, sir.
Okay, we can.
But what I'm saying is they have the MOU already, so it is there. So every department should have share the data with the coordination wing. So Otherwise, someone needs to start from beginning.
There is no follow-up activities, main thing. Ashraful Alam Ratan.
Ratan, would you unmute yourself and ask your question? I think he had typed it as well.
Okay.
So he had typed, is there any option to include the user reflection or criticism on any development of design, policy, or amendment where a project can be evaluated?
Yeah. Yes, sir. So, Assalamu alaikum, sir. So, there are lots of new kind of initiative or amendment or any kind of design correction is happening around the Dhaka city. So, we don't have any statistics, we don't have any user reflection archive where we can understand how many time travel are saving or how many people are getting the benefits. So, these are the things can we add in the reform plan so that every user at least they would be the counted of having the experience of new changes. So can we add this kind of things, sir?
So regarding the feedback of any new project implemented, you were mentioning this one, how we can get the feedback regarding the project.
Yes, sir, from the user perspective. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Can we have Rezaul Rahman? Please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, that was a wonderful presentation from Dr. Shamsul Hoque, and also the discussion is really, really wonderful. So I have something to add. Like I'm really hoping that we'll be able to do some like a very action-oriented development this time. So my suggestion is that like maybe we should like prioritize like which project we should pick. For example, like if you say the priority should be on public transportation, then we can start with public transportation, and we can develop in such a way that public transportation you will give you everything that you need. So for example, like you can devise the buses in such a way that you can monitor everything. Like you can estimate the delay, you can check the crashes, and you can also monitor the pavements, everything. So once you deploy one project, that will give you like all the necessary information. That way you can think about the future. So it's not like the DOTs and every like state DOTs or any other places, what is implemented is exactly like a what we should do, but like we need to think like a slightly differently and a smart way, and get the best, all the best thing that is available in different places, and put all this together to the best project that you can implement, and like a make a statement that yeah we can like implement something like that, and that can be like a very something revolutionary for us, because that will give some very valuable information that we can use for our future projects as well. And in terms of data and everything, like I mean, we know like when we start there will be no data per se, but if we are smart enough and we can find some resources like mobile phone sensors or that kind of data, that can help us at least to start with the project like public transportation, like how to plan the network. And maybe we should look into like how the successful businesses are working, like how they use the data and how they help people to make informed decisions. So all these things are actually is not present in like in even in not US, it's not available. Like it's not available that people make informed decision about like when to start their travel or commute. So all these things are not present. But the good thing is that Bangladesh has actually no system. So it's basically starting from zero. So that's why like when we're starting from zero, we can like put the best devices and best technology together and create a project that will like help you in future, because we don't have like so many resources to like try different things. Maybe we just pick one, we devise it correctly, and we start from there. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's what was my suggestion.
Thank you,
Okay.
Reza.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have Promethesh, or we can go to Syed Rakib?
Promethesh is, I think, rejoining.
Okay,
Syed
so
Rakib has
Syed
just
Rakib
joined.
Syed Rakib can go ahead and give your, like, maybe we don't have much
Should
time
be
to start
fine.
with it. So if we can make it a very brief.
Yes, hello, assalamu alaikum to everyone. You hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, sorry, I think I missed a bit of the presentation in the beginning because of my internet issues. I would like to thank Professor Shamsul Hoque and all the other organizers who have prepared this opportunity for us to discuss. Basically, I have been working in the UK in the beginning of my career, and then in recent time, I was involved in several projects in Bangladesh as well. I was working in the most recently in the BBA Master Plan project as the highway team lead, and before that, I was working in as a traffic in the traffic department of for the planning project for the MRT Line 5 North. So I do have experience, and in terms of the uh, issues I have faced for the challenges about working in Bangladesh, as well as seeing the things firsthand as well. So Professor Shamsul Hoque knows me very well, I think. It's one of the to mention in terms of the data you are saying. It's not that there is no data available. There are data available to some of the departments. Like, for example, RHD has a lot of data. Khaled was mentioning about some study done before. One of the big issue is in Bangladesh, I have noticed, is the interdepartment issues. Like, say, for example, RHD has some data, but for this BBA master plan project, we have issued them several letters. There were meetings in the chief engineer level, but finally, we could not get the data we were asking for. And it's between the two department of the government. Like, the bridge authority is asking for data from roads and highways department, and it's very getting difficult because of the internal politics issues. It's not national politics. It's about who is going to lead what. And in terms of Dhaka, what I have noticed, say, for example, for the National Highway Network, RHD is the person who is leading. And there is a difference between BBA, like the bridges, which are longer than 1.5 kilometer. BBA are supposed to be doing those, and RHD is not going to do those things. Now, there are conflicts between those sort of areas. But when it comes to the question of Dhaka, like, for example, there is an organization of DTCA. Like in DTCA, there are people coming in deputation from RHD for a few years, and then they go away. And sometimes the people are coming from the ministry as well, but they are not coming with the background in transport. Some of the people are coming from background of Bangla or even agriculture, and then they are trying to do the policy making for some years. So with these reform things, I think Professor Shamsul Hoque sir already must have given some recommendation. Can you propose to do some things? For example, if the chief advisor's office currently can take the lead and basically take, for example, the DTCA as one of the organization, and then formulate all the other organizations to cooperate with DTCA and the city corporations in a way that whatever projects will be taken in Dhaka, that should be coordinated and coming from that area. Not just because currently DTCA is doing all the STP, RSTP, and all these strategic things, and also the feasibility studies, but implementation is going to DMTCL, for example, for the metro projects. But when DMTCL is doing the, I think, the implementation issues, they are then trying to take the lead, saying that why should DTCL tell us how our network should be developed? We should be doing it on our own. So there needs to be a difference that, okay, DMTCL, if they are the implementation agency, then they should not be dealing with the like the master plan things in a way that they are giving a new thing. They should be one of the stakeholders. They should give their views, but there should be a leading part who would be doing the things for Dhaka, for example. In terms of Dhaka, I have seen that there are projects. Even I was working in one of the recent one, this elevated circular road. That is a project proposed from BBA. And then RHD was saying we are already doing this Dhaka inner circular road, which is not elevated. This is at grade. But
Rakib,
yes,
as you are staying in Bangladesh, I can talk with you
okay.
personally.
I'm not in Bangladesh right now. I have come back to London now. So
when will you be back?
I just finished my inputs in some of the projects.
We have
I
to
can
submit.
communicate with you.
We have to submit our reform report by December. So before that, if you have any chance, we can sit together.
Of course. Yes. Okay.
Definitely, we will give some insight as well.
Yes.
Anyone can add something.
I think Promotesh.
Yes.
Earlier
Yeah, I'm
so
here.
maybe
Can
you
you hear
can
me?
just ask your question quickly because we also want to touch upon the third point about how the NRBs can be get involved. So just be brief, please.
Yeah, just quick two, not question actually, suggestions or comments. First one is the benefit cost analysis feasibility studies. I think Shamsul Hoque sir mentioned that in US, we have a guidance that's provided by US Department of Transportation that is one single guide for everyone for any infrastructure project, and we use that to calculate travel time benefits, vehicle operating cost, health cost, emission cost, and all that. That is one thing I think in Bangladesh we should have a similar type of guidance, and we can start with something, and definitely we can improve over the time using real time data and all that. That is one thing I think that is very important. We should have that kind of guidance to conduct the feasibility studies, and one guide for everyone. Second one is data management. In local level, the city I live in Fort Wayne, and I am also associate professor at Purdue University Fort Wayne, and I also work with city for different types of their grant proposals and all that. And I did actually work on several feasibility studies recently. So whenever I needed data to conduct the feasibility studies, one single organization who manages all the data, MPO, Metro Planning Organization. They have crash data, they have travel data, modeling data, any types of data. Whenever we need any data, we just approach them and they provide us the data in whatever format. So only one organization in this city only this city. I think they share their data with federal government, but when for the local projects, I think they only provide us the data. Yeah, that's I wanted to share some my recent experience.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can. So
I think
Karishma,
Mustafa Bhai mentioned that he would like to share his thoughts about the third point, like how NRBs can better contribute to the transport sector.
Thanks, Karishma. Thanks, Samuel. So first of all, everyone, thanks for joining in. And it was a very engaging discussion. And thank you, Professor Shamsul Hoque, for your 5 pages, because if possible, please share with us. I would like to actually respond to some of your suggestions regarding engagement of the NRBs. That crisis actually creates leadership. Crisis, organizes everyone and brings everyone to the one singular point. And I have been living in abroad nearly 24 years, but I'm one of those few people who most probably visit Bangladesh every year at least 3 times. So I'm very much accustomed with what's happening in Bangladesh as someone who roams around in the Bangladeshi street, footpath to everywhere. I would just like to actually say that you have asked about the think tank and those. Yes, Professor Tahir Saif is here, who is our recently elected member of NAE. And we have discussed about this and the reason for this BRAINSTEM or many other organizations to bring them, not only to just put our focus on the cultural activities of Bangladeshi chit chat, rather than going beyond and to be competitive in the global arena, just like the being, so that we ambassador Bangladesh and at the same time we give back to Bangladesh. So that whenever you are looking for, I have made a suggestions to Professor Borhan also, that every time there is you have suggested about the program director, and I do recognize that many that you can always tap into this the pool, not only our academics but beyond that the professionals, so that that whenever needed that they are ready to step in and you can provide their names wherever you see the fit, to the UN or IMF or World Bank, when they bring their consultants and suggest, okay, if I'm giving you $100, give me back $80. You can actually at that point say that I have a better candidate. So they have to scale back their approach on these kind of things. And obviously, I just like to tell you, we have talked about data, and I think that we need the electronic infrastructure to be the conjugated with the civil infrastructure. The reason that I said that, now people will going to say that, oh, that's another mega project, and I'm very much aware of the last government's many kind of mega project where the faculty have provided their inputs to legitimize and to launch those programs. That one of the things that we are going to do soon enough, that we are actually going to we have a list of the civil infrastructure monitoring, the sensors technologies, and we are going to launch a nationwide competition for the Gen Z specifically, where each group will not only have the engineering students but also students from arts and commerce, so that there is a comprehensive integrated solution, a takeaway message from there, and so that they can make it low cost, so that we can eventually find out investors from abroad as well as local to implement those. And then you will have enough of those data, as you mentioned, that today whenever you go through the expressway, you have a real good electronic data out there. So when the data, so there's three chapters, right? The data collection, data integrity, and data analysis, right? So is it data collection? And then I'm pretty sure about the many of the experts here who will be able to work with the Bangladeshi experts to establish this kind of distributed data centers, which essentially centered around the universities and manage this kind of data, and then can do and apply, implement AI to analyze those data and to provide the feedback the real time. I actually worked with Devopriyo's the team on the economic white paper, and I made this clear that how we can actually help, like solar cell technology and all those kind of things, not to use the buzzword, rather to actually go and to use the math. So hopefully that these are the things we will continue our discussions, and these will be implemented along with our the Bangladeshi compatriots here and there, both sides. Thank you so much.
One thing I would like to request Samuel. Samuel, I shared my presentation with you. Can you distribute to the all participant?
Yes,
and
sir. I can give it to Mustafa.
expecting that this is not the end of the story. Whoever get the presentation, or if you have any idea to share, please inform me through email or any other means. We'll be waiting for your feedback, because this is the very limited space to discuss in different way. So if you have any idea to share, don't hesitate to share with me.
Yes, sir. The thing is that we can share the document that you gave me with all the participants, and they can give the feedback to us or to you directly, and I can compile all of it and send it to you.
Yeah, and Samuel, we are going to actually share everything with the video to the more distributed, wider dissemination, so that we can gather all the inputs. Sometimes people didn't attend, but they are going to watch the video. I'm 100% sure about that.
Yes, the email list also. We have an email list, sir. So if you have a permission to broadly share this, we can share it with the email list, and then we can get feedback and give it to you. And of course, we have some of the experts we already have. They can give their feedback, and we have a lot of comments. I think this is one of the most engaging sessions of this seminar. So we'll collect all of the comments and questions in this chat box and share it with you immediately after this event. And then if some future comments are there, I will share it with you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to just add one thing you mentioned in your third point is about creating an overseas NRB expert panel for guidance of mega projects. So maybe this is also something we can actively work on. So we have this list of, BD transport professionals, and we can share their regardless of if they have comments on this document or not, if they would like to get share their expertise with Shamsul Hoque sir or the Bangladesh government in general, then we can compile that and share that with sir as well.
Yes, yes, sir. We have a group, email group. So I already shared about this event, but I can share this one. And if somebody is interested, I can create a list of people. So there are a couple of things we could do after this event, and I will follow up with you, sir. With specific things we can.
Most welcome. I want to see that our expertise actually who are doing their job with name and fame abroad, why shouldn't they give input to their own country? So there should be some space to give the input, and I will try to give some reform recommendation where there will be some space. Particularly, we have a culture to make one expert panel of expert for the mega project implementation. So we can easily engage our expertise from the abroad. I will give the recommendation definitely so that both homegrown and overseas frontier research can give some better input in implementing mega projects.
So, Mustafa, you can conclude this.
You guys go ahead and thank you again.
Yes,
can I make a quick comment to Shamsul Hoque sir? Sorry, I'm interrupting. I raised my hand. Just quickly, Dr. Sir, and I'm Azam sir. We did another session for the EV vehicle.
Oh yes.
One thing I want to draw your attention, Dr. Sir, is that I think there is a government level policy needed for NRB engagement. Right now, the process is people-based or person-based or contact-based policy. Right now, say, if I want to get engaged, I might not be able to because I don't have access to you. Or somebody else might not have access to you, but who are capable, more capable than me. Okay. So I think we need a formalized way of NRB engagement, sir. You can promote this to Dr. Yunus and others. I think this type of people-based, connection-based engagement of NRB is not going to work for Bangladesh for long term.
Okay, as Ajom, what I did so far, when governments actually investigating the DMTCL top management, and they requested me to become the director of the DMTCL and also the MD, then I kindly denied that no, I haven't got any practical experience regarding the MRT projects. So rather, you should invite all the expatriate who are actually has the experience, similar experience, and they might come because individual has their own interest. So as per my request, they have already invited using Facebook and other internet inlet, and it is equal for all. So definitely, I have intention to engage definitely NRVs in our project development, definitely in a formal way, so that everybody get the chance and know the information where which type of expertise is asking from the government side. Definitely this type of reform recommendation I will add.
Thank you, sir. So I would like to, because it's almost 2 hours have passed, so everybody is going to go back to their life. So I would like to conclude this session. So I'd like to thank Dr. Sir for his contribution and presentation, and then all of you so for coming to this event. So with that, I would like to end this. And if you have any comment or feedback about the document that Sir has shared, I will share it with you in writing. So if you can have the feedback, you can give it to Sir or to me, and I will compile all of them and share it with Sir. So thank you all for attending this session. I'd like to conclude this session.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.